Welcome to Lesson 78 of Course 2 of Saxon Math. In this lesson we're going to talk about graphing inequalities. We've graphed number line before, but we've never done it with inequalities. So we're going to read and interpret the symbols greater than and equal to and less than and equal to, and we're going to graph inequalities on a number line. So first of all, what is an inequality? Well, algebraic statements that have less than, greater than, less than, and equal to, or greater than and equal to, as their symbols of comparison are called inequalities. So all of these are inequalities because they're not equal. Pretty simplified, right? Not equal. These aren't equal either, but we're not trying to say one's bigger than the other. We're adding them together. So that's not an inequality. Here, we're indicating one side is different than the other side. And so those are called inequalities. So we have the normal symbols we're used to of greater than, less than, and equal to compare two numbers. So in this lesson we're going to introduce some new symbols which are greater than or equal to and less than or equal to. And we're going to learn how to use those. So what we normally do when we have a number line, as we've got down here, and we were to graph the number 4, we just go ahead and put that dot right there on number 4 to indicate that's our number, the number 4. And that's pretty straightforward. But what if I was to tell you that I want you to graph all the numbers that are greater than 4 or equal to 4? You might take a graph and you just might put some dots on there, and then you may stop. But the problem is that those dots mark and they represent numbers greater than 4 and also equal to 4, of course, because here's our 4 here. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't graph all the numbers like we said we wanted. We want to do all numbers that are greater than 4. So for instance, we didn't graph 10, 11, 12, 200. Right? We also didn't graph numbers like 4 1/2, 5 1/3, square root of 29, or 2 pi. So if we were to graph all of these numbers, all numbers, the dots would be so close together that they'd end up looking like a ray that goes on and on. So when we do that, when we graph what we want to say all numbers equal to or greater than 4, we're going to put a solid dot on the 4, and then we're going to draw our ray going greater than to show that it's going to go on forever, that it continues without end. But and we put the dot on the 4, that lets us know that it's equal to 4. So if we were to graph on a number line all numbers, so I always want you to think of the variable as saying all numbers less than or equal to 4. Then we do just like in the prior screen, but this time here we're going to put on our 4, but this time we're going to go less than, right? That's pretty simple. We're going to go less than 4. Let's look at another one. And this one here, it just says graph. Here's our x, so what are we going to call that? All numbers greater than 4. Greater than 4. So when we do this on our number line this time, we leave it's open. We don't make it a solid dot on our 4. We leave it open. And that tells us that it gets as close to 4 as it possibly can, but it does not include 4, and then it includes all numbers greater than that. So all numbers greater than 4. So we don't include 4, so we show an open circle to say that 4 is not included, but we're going to include the smallest number right next to the 4s we can get, and then all the ones greater than that. All right, so let's do some practice ones. Let's see if you can do this on your own. Create your own number line. Open up your books or draw one and graph all numbers less than 2. So are you going to use a solid dot or are you going to use an open dot? Hopefully you said you're going to use an open dot because it doesn't say that we're including 2. It says all numbers less than 2. So we're going to use our open dot, and then we're going to go towards the negatives because they're less than 2. All right, let's look at B, see if you can do it. On a number line, graph all the numbers greater than or equal to 1. So are we going to be going to the right or to the left? Greater than or equal to 1. All numbers. So is 2 greater than 1? It is. So we're going to be going to the right. And then do we use an open circle or do we use a closed circle? We're going to use a closed circle to indicate that 1 is included, because it says all numbers greater than or equal to 1. So you're going to fill that dot in right at the 1. You're going to fill that dot in, and then we're going to go greater than. All right, so let's see if you can graph these inequalities on a number line. I'll let you do them yourselves. C and D. Stop the video, start back up, and I'll show you the answers. All right, let's look at C. There's C. All numbers are less than or equal to -1. And then here we've got all numbers greater than -1. So we're going to go the other direction with an open dot. That's it. Takes a little bit of practice. It gets a little tricky, but you should know how to do this. You should be familiar with number lines. And there's your written practice for tomorrow. Submit those to me tonight and bring your questions as we work on the assignment in class. Thank you for watching the video. We'll see you tomorrow.